Hello and welcome to JLMTAuto for attempt number 2 at fitting the polybush kit. So polybushes are in the arms like we had in episode 3. We're now going to try and get the arms fitted back into the car. I managed to split the boot on the drive shaft, and I also managed to not have the right hub nut, so I'm going to have to take the drive shaft back out and then fix that and then put the arms back in. So fingers crossed we can get that done today and then get a few other bits and pieces sorted on the car. So as you can see, we've got the split in the boot here, so the grease is just going to fly out if we don't replace this. So take the drive shaft out, put the stretch boot kit over the top, get the new boot on, fill with new grease. We've also emptied the gearbox by pulling this drive shaft out, so I've got new gearbox oil. Thanks for Kelvin from Auto Store for getting that for me. So we'll get this drive shaft out, get the new boot on, fit the new arms. I brought spring compressors to make the job a little bit easier, to try and compress this to make the whole sort of assembly move up, and that should allow us to get this in with a big bar. Do the same on the other side, except we don't need to do the drive shaft boot. Get the exhaust bolted back up, get the rear calipers on the rear, and then we are good to go. So if you've never used a stretch boot kit before, I've done this the cheats way. I've pulled the drive shaft out without actually doing the hub nut. But effectively, you take the spring clips off, and then you have a cone here which you stretch a boot over the top of the drive shaft. I'll show you how that works in a second.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change. Play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong. Need to move on to be.
New boot is on. Just got to get the drive shaft back in and then hopefully get the arm back on. Now you may want to put the bolt in the other way, but if you put it in from this way up, if the nut does fall off, you've got no safety. Whereas if the bolt's in this way, it's less likely to jump out. So my dad and a guy called Niels on Facebook on the 208 forum mentioned that to me, and he also gave me the torque values, which is really helpful. So when I put all this back together, I can torque it. So thanks again, Niels.
Dreaming on, I'm staying strong. Need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
One thing I have noticed while being under here is that, don't worry, that's all cool and that leak's sorted, but there's an engine mount here which looks like the rubber's detached from the housing. So I'll look up at pricing one of them up and see if we can get that as part of the 2K or whether we just do it as a maintenance bill. But I think yeah, new engine mount's definitely needed on this. Whew! Fronts are done, just got to get the wheels back on. So we'll crack on with the rear, get the rear calipers bolted on, and then, yeah, wheels on and drop her down.
Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'ma ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me slack. No, it's not how you fall, it's how you get right back up. That's how you get tough. Calluses on my hands so rough, yeah, I call your bluff. I'm not the one, mess with me and come out with none. Cause I'm so done, you had your fun. And now you're gonna face down the barrel of the gun. Cause I got a full clip with your name on it. But I'ma let you slide cause you ain't worth it.
Car's all clean now. So what we're going to do is a full WRC. What we're going to do is a full WRC rally spec livery, but with a twist. We're going to use JLMTAuto colours. So we'll crack on and get it on. Oh, your way a bit, if you want.
I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
So here we are back in the Peugeot. Solid bushes mounted, poly bushes up front. It's a little bit louder in here, as you'd expect. There's less isolation from the road, and the ride comfort isn't actually as bad as I thought it would be. even over some really rough stuff like that, it's not going to be a Bentley, it's not going to be a Rolls Royce, it never was, but what it is now is a really solid track car, and it's going to handle really well. I've not quite got up to temperature yet, so I'll just let it get up to temperature and then sort of start pushing it in some of the corners, but I think it genuinely feels a lot more sturdy on the road. It feels like it's going to hold the road a lot better than it did, so yeah, excited to see what it handles like. There we have it, solid rear bushes, front poly bush, and the rear stablers are on poly bushes as well. We've also got the engine mount to do, we haven't done that on this video. And as you can see, it's all fully liveried up. So we did have a bit of a problem. I wanted to put full WRC rally livery on the side. The wrap we got wasn't suitable. So instead we did the best we could of what we've got. I think it looks pretty cool. It drives awesome. The handling is properly on point now. You point it in a direction and it goes there. You can sort of look at going 10, 15 miles an hour faster into a corner than you did on the stock setup. And genuinely, I'm so pleased with it. It is one of the most fun cars I've ever driven. So I highly recommend getting one. So next video, touch up paint, fitting the engine mount, doing a few little tweaks just to make the car right. And then we'll take it for a really good drive. Make sure you subscribe and like if you like these videos. And we've got some really interesting projects coming up after the Peugeot, so keep your eyes peeled for that. See you next time.
You come back better than last.